What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the THC Samuel Show. This is episode 11. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's been super fun so far, showing everybody different pieces of art, different artists, different mediums. If you guys are enjoying the show, please, right there, hit that like, hit that subscribe button on the video, hit that like button. It helps me grow the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And with that being said, we got a super fun piece to get into today. This is a glass sculpture by Peter Muller. Peter Muller is an absolute legend. I love his work, and this is just a really fun piece. I've had it in my collection for a few years, so with that, let's get into it. So I wrote an article about Peter Muller for Hemp Connoisseur magazine a few years ago, and his work is really just awesome. So Peter's from Vermont, and he's an American glassblower, and for those of you who haven't seen something like this before, or haven't, maybe seen a lot of borosilicate or seen a lot of glass work, this is a piece of functional borosilicate glass. So it's super, super crazy. I mean, you can basically, obviously you can use the piece if you want to. It is functional. There is a removable back piece, and then you can add a banger. You can add your attachment, and then you can use it. I have it filled with water. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like, kind of just bubbling and just with the water raging. But really, it's a fantastic sculpture, and I really can't wait to break that down with you guys and show you the different pieces. And before that, I'm going to just get into a little bit more about Peter. So Peter Muller actually started in the soft glass world. So I'm not sure if anybody out there collects soft glass sculptures, vases, kind of stuff like that. If you do, definitely hit the comments. I'd love to know kind of what artists you guys are collecting, what in the soft glass world is kind of, getting people to talk about the art form. So Peter, back in the day, I'd have to go look at the article to remember exactly some fine-tuned dates, but just to give you guys a summary, back in the day, Peter used to make a lot of soft glass, so it was non-functional, and he used to make a lot of, nothing that looked like this VooDoo doll. His work was more traditional. He'd make a lot of, like I said, other kinds of sculptures, and he was very close friends, and is close friends with another artist, Joe Peters, and the two of them kind of began working a little bit more together. Joe began to kind of dabble in some of the functional kind of areas, and kind of Peter went that direction as well. And Peter had the idea of, from my understanding, from my remembering of our conversation, Peter wanted to always break out and kind of do some more creative things with his glasswork, but the market in Vermont just didn't really speak to characters like this. The older population and the people that were in that area at the time just weren't really buying functional pieces of glass like that. But Peter always had a vision for what he wanted to make. And from my remembrance of the story that he told me, a customer of his that was buying soft glass at the time, and also a local, functional collector, basically came in and said, hey, like, if you can make one of these dolls, because Peter had experimented and kind of made some of these, but they weren't functional. So the collector said that, hey, or I think it was a collector, it might have been a glass shop owner. So that could be a correction there. But someone came to Peter and basically said, hey, if you can make a doll that looks kind of like this, but make it function, make it bubble, then I'll buy it. So that's kind of a push that led Peter down the road to making functional pieces. And there's a whole story behind this piece. I absolutely love it. This was made in 2018. It's actually a remade piece. That's another kind of ridiculous story. So to tell you guys again a little bit more about this piece, I actually acquired this originally in a trade with another collector. I think the piece was originally made in 2016. I then got it in a trade in, I think, 2017. And then in 2017, I was on vacation with an ex-girlfriend, not to be named, and we were in Yosemite, California, a beautiful place, and I brought this with me to take some pictures and to just kind of get some nature shots of a piece like this out in a beautiful spot like Yosemite. And my ex broke it. It tipped off of the rental. We were staying in an Airbnb. It tipped off the table onto a tile floor and completely shattered. It broke my heart. It was terrible. But basically after that, I hit up Peter immediately and basically, explained to him the situation and asked if he'd be willing to obviously let me pay for another one, but if he'd be willing to make it again, and he said yes. So I paid for the piece again, paid for it twice, And then he made me another one. There were only a couple small changes from the original to this one. The original was a 14 millimeter right here in the back, this joint size that you see right here. The original one was a 14. I changed it to a 10. That's just a personal preference. I just prefer 10 millimeters. And then the stance of the arms, if you see, and again, you're going to get a full close-up of the piece, but the arms, the way the arms kind of stand, how he's holding himself, the kind of the stance of the arms, the gesture of the arms, was adjusted a little bit as well. And something else that's very cool about the piece, this knife right here is removable, and you can use it as a dabber, or you can just kind of let it chill. So to get into some explanation of the piece, I'm kind of going to do that once I get into a close-up. So I think it's time we get into a zoom of what this guy looks like. Let's go. So if you guys have watched previous episodes, you guys should hopefully know you can't get it in all circumstances, in all situations, with every single piece, but a COA right here, Certificate of Authenticity. I have one for this piece. Peter and his crew were dope enough, they started making COAs for his work, and I got one kind of retroactively. It wasn't one of the 2020 or 2021 pieces, but I was able to hit them up and get a COA for my 2018 piece. So the reason I'm not doing a full close-up is because it's got some personal info on it. But otherwise, it's basically another, like I said, another way to establish that you bought the piece, that you own it, that it's an original, etc. And just another important piece of collecting artwork that I always try to, talk about in every episode, because I feel like it really helps when you really start collecting artwork to really make sure that you keep track of certain things and really make sure that things retain value, if not increase in value over time. And COAs help with that a lot. Okay guys, so here we go on a close-up of the piece. We're going to do a full 360 and everything, but this is just such a cool piece of artwork. And again, this is all made out of borosilicate glass. So Peter has his own techniques. I'm pretty sure everything is sandblasted, but he's got his own tech for his own sculpture work and everything. But this is the close-up of the standing doll, and it is so cool in my mind, I guess, to talk about art here for a second, and why this is kind of more than just a pipe or more than just a piece of functional glass. It's an incredible sculpture. We've talked about awesome different sculptures from various artists on the show so far, and I guess just really, from my opinion, from my perspective, this guy's, he's ripping out his chest to show you that he's got a heart. And I think that's kind of the message of the piece, at least for me. Yes, it's like the whole VooDoo doll, and it's like got that kind of cool, creepy vibe, but really, he's sitting there trying to just show you that the heart is still there, which I think is a super cool aspect of the piece. So next, let's get into, again, a full 360, and then we'll give a little bit more explanation of the piece. So really quick, I wanted to kind of show this matching accessory. This is called a bubble cap, and it's super, super cool. I know I say that about every single piece, but I'm just trying not to curse for YouTube. Normally I'd be cursing a little bit more. But this is just, it's fucking sick. So this matching bubble cap has that same texture, if you can kind of see by my fingers, with the stitches. And then the little button right there. It's just such a fun accessory to match. So I'm really stoked that I've got the matching accessory. And then we'll do a little zoom down real quick and show you guys that it's actually on a matching mat of a full doll. And big shout out to the homies at Smokin', and big shout out to the homies at Hickory. They actually had this sick mat that matched my doll, and when I was out in California, had to grab it. So big shout out to them. They're an awesome gallery. There are two different galleries. Great people, great homies. So just wanted to shout out them. Okay, so let's get into another kind of macro, not macro, but kind of just full 360 of the piece. And again, this knife is removable. It's just fucking awesome. Like Peter, whoops, just knocked down the bubble cap. Peter's work is some of my favorite in the entire glass industry. And then right here in the back, if you see, this is a removable little needle as well, because the doll stands on a little spool. So it is just, I'm pretty sure that's what that's called. If I just fuck that up, please let me know. But here's the full 360. And then in the back, you just see some really fun detail. So you got like the blue patch, the nice color contrast. a band-aid right here. Again, I'm going to do a full zoom, but you got a band-aid back on that back side. And then on the top of the head, you also have another band-aid. Just a super cool aspect of the piece. And then if I zoom in really quick, and if it feels like focusing, there we go. You'll see Peter's stamp of Peter Muller 2018. So he's done a super cool kind of different way of signing his pieces by using that stamp. So that's Peter's official signature. Just knocked down the bubble cap again. So next I want to show you guys what this piece looks like actually, if you were to use it, if it were to function. I'm not going to, scrape any material or take an actual dab, but I do want to show you guys what the stomach looks like when it's just rumbling. So next we're going to show that. Okay guys, so this is a close-up of the functional kind of aspect like we were talking about. These sculptures, hypothetically, they could be made non-functional. So if you're really into the glass, let's say, but you just you don't smoke or you just don't care about it being functional, they can be non-functional. But I just want to show that, the popularity and a lot of the scene really loves, and a lot of the culture, I should say, really loves the aspect of the pieces that they are functional. So if you were to use the piece, let's take a quick look real quick as the stomach rumbles. So that was a fun little clip of what this piece looks like when it functions. And again, this is a standing doll by Peter Muller. And it's super fun. I mean, it's a great piece. The quality is amazing. Peter's artwork is instantly recognizable. I mean, if you're into the glass world at all, or the glass scene, you know Peter's work as soon as you come across it, as soon as you see it. So it's just a sick piece. So this is kind of what it looks like, kind of in my hand. It's a pretty big piece. I think it's about 10 or 11 inches, I believe, from bottom to the top of the head. And also the top of the head, that is the mouthpiece as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. It was super fun getting a chance to show you guys this piece. I love it. I've had it for a few years, and it's just an amazing example of glasswork. So with that, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 11. We really got into one of my favorite pieces in my collection, this Peter Muller doll. I've had it for a few years. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys might not. I'm thinking about letting this guy go to a new home. I've had it for a few years. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite pieces, but sometimes with every piece, with everything that you love, sometimes it's time to just pass it on and let someone else enjoy it. Old cars, different pieces of artwork, etc. Sometimes it's time to let someone else enjoy it. So if someone else out there falls in love with it, there's a chance I'm gonna sell it, but there's also a really good chance that I hold on to it. It's one of my favorite pieces. And again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please hit that like, subscribe button down there. I'm putting that little bar in every video. I appreciate you guys so much. And please hit the comments if you guys are enjoying every episode. What do you guys think of this piece? Have you guys ever heard of Peter Muller? Have you guys ever seen a piece like this? And just hit the comments. I want to continue a discussion and just talk to everybody about art. That's the main point of this channel. So again, whenever you're watching this, good night, good morning, good evening, whatever. Peace out. Thank you guys.